Hi guys, welcome to Nerdbytes. This is going to be my spoiler review for Netflix's Iron Fist. Yes, there will be spoilers, but I'm putting them to the back end of my review. I'll let you know when they're coming. So the Netflix series Iron Fist, the next Marvel series that's following on, building up towards the Defenders. And this has got a guy called Finn Jones playing Iron Fist. He was in Game of Thrones as well as other people, like new characters, as well as Claire the Night Nurse from all the other series. She's made an appearance in this as well to tie it all together. And yeah, this is the last one before the Defenders hit. What are my rough thoughts before going into spoiler territory? I enjoyed it. It was a good series, but it's probably the weakest of these Netflix Marvel series, to be perfectly honest. I did enjoy it. There were some good action scenes in it. There were some good plot details and good characters, but there was also some weak characters, some weak plot details, and there was things that were just chopped and changed and all this kind of stuff. And it was a very choppy series for me, and the reason it's taken me so long to do this series is because I was struggling to find motivation to go back and keep watching it. It didn't have me hanging on the edge, apart from maybe 2 or 3 episodes. It didn't really have me hanging on the edge wanting to watch the next one and binge all the way through it, and I was just finding the time to just get through it, really. Apart from the last 2 episodes and maybe one in the middle, everything else was just kind of blah, really. It was alright, it was good-ish, but it wasn't great, to be honest. It could have been a lot better. Finn Jones, he's a good actor. You know, he's got a lot of potential, but in this, I kind of got bored of the Iron Fist character quite quickly. At the start, the first couple of episodes, he looked like this kind of carefree, go-lucky kind of character that has obviously got a bit of a past. And he's like, alright, I think I can get invested in this character. And then when the serious shit started happening, he went all serious, and even his voice was just kind of like, oh my god. Like whispering all the time, just like kind of really serious all the time and angry all the time. And it just kind of flipped the character straight away, and it just got really boring and really felt like he was overacting it to a point. Like, I'm in a superhero movie, so I have to be serious and talk like this all the time. And it was seriously distracting for the rest of the series. The woman that plays Claire the Night Nurse, she was always awesome as well. I did quite like David Wenham as the main bad guy, the main villain, as the father of these 2 people that Danny Rand Iron Fist knows, Ward and I've forgotten the girl's name. I've totally forgotten it. Gone. Joy, that was her name, the sister. Yeah, I mean, her chemistry with Iron Fist was quite good as well. Her chemistry with her brother as well, and she, you know. But again, it was kind of a bit of a flat character overall. Again, there was a lot of characters in there. I mean, I think it was Colleen, the one that Iron Fist was interested in, the one with the sword and everything. She had a dojo. She was a pretty cool character, but again, it wasn't developed enough for me, really. Yeah, Ward was a good character. I quite enjoyed him as a character. He was developed reasonably well through this series. I actually found myself looking towards what's going on with him more than I was looking at what was going on with Iron Fist, which is not a good thing considering Iron Fist is the main person. There's also a character that pops up kind of over halfway through called Davos as well. He was someone that Iron Fist used to know back when he got his powers from elsewhere, which Kung Lung it was called, and he was a kind of cool character. I quite liked him as a character, but because he came in so late, I didn't get to know that much about him really. But he was still a pretty cool character, and the way they kind of left him in the series, I'm intrigued to see what he does. You've also got another character that appears about halfway through, well, at least maybe 3/4 of the way through the series, really. This sensei to Colleen, and his character and the way he was developed. I'll get into it into spoiler territory as well. It just kind of popped up out of nowhere and became another bad guy, and I don't know whether it was needed. I suppose it was. It worked to a point with David Wenham's character, but they could have easily not needed him, really. So Madame Gao, she looked like from the start of this series like she was going to be the big problem here. Like she was going to be the main antagonist, and she was just going to be such an evil, horrible bitch. And then as time went on, she got less and less time on screen, less of a character, and then by the end of it, you just kind of like, I don't really care anymore because you've just not been on the TV enough for me to give a shit. Right guys, we're going into spoiler territory now, so make sure you've seen the series first. You have been warned, it's spoiler territory now. The one thing I think was quite a good shocker was in the middle when Ward kills David Wenham's character, kills his dad in the middle of the series. I thought, oh, that's a bit of a shocker. But then it kind of has a callback to killing off one of the main bad guys in Luke Cage in the middle of the series. But then later on he comes back, and that was a bit more of a shock really, because I didn't expect him to come back. I thought they'd just kill him off. And he came back, and that was pretty cool. I really quite liked him as a bad guy. I think he was really good, even at the end as well. Because you think at some point he's slowly turning good and whatnot at certain points, and then at other points he's like, no, maybe not. He was up and down all over the place, but in a good way. By the end of the thing, you're just like, this guy's a dick and needs to die, and yeah. One thing I quite liked was the relationship between Carlene and Iron Fist, Danny Rand. Their relationship blossomed actually into a full-on relationship. That worked reasonably well. I bought into that enough, really, but, you know, again, I couldn't buy into it too much because the characters were a little bit bland for me. The Sensei guy, I can't remember his name, just pops up near the end of the series, and he and Colleen, they kind of reveal that they're part of the Hand. The main thing that Iron Fist is trying to kill, and then he's obviously really pissed off and everything that she's part of the Hand, but she says she's trying to say, oh, we're part of a different collective group of the Hand, we're not the bad guys, blah blah blah, and this whole tension arises and whatnot, and then that's when Davos gets involved as well. And I quite liked it. I did like it. It was a good building, really, because I didn't expect it to be part of the Hand. I assumed he was going to be a bad guy when he appeared. I thought it seems pretty obvious, but with her, when she found out she's actually part of the Hand in some kind of way, that was a kind of good character building between her and Danny Rand, and how angry he got and all that kind of stuff, and that building and everything through the rest of the series. The Iron Fist power as well, for me, I mean, I don't know too much about the Iron Fist character. I know the bare minimum, really, and for me the power was a bit wish-washy in this series. He could kind of like summon it at random points if he got angry or emotional about something. Then he can actually use it to heal people when Colleen got really badly poisoned, which was weird. I was like, right, okay. And then at one point he lost it completely and he couldn't use it, and then he randomly gets it back at some point when he gets arrested and taken down by that Sensei dude and his minions. And then at the end he just kind of has it back, and it's kind of wish-washy, not really explained too much, and it's just kind of a little bit lazy storytelling on their part, really. Yeah, the last couple of episodes where it got reasonably good, but not great. It wasn't amazing, but it was better than the rest of the series because it was coming to its climax. The whole thing about the Sensei guy at the Hand taking control, and he has Madame Gao imprisoned, and then he takes control of of David Wenham's character and the son and the daughter, and it like basically uses them as bait to get Iron Fist there, and so on and so forth. That it's such a massive clusterfuck, but it worked when you're watching it. After all that's settled and sorted, you kind of, well, basically you're told David Wenham's character is still the main bad guy to be. He's like, everything's all sorted for him. He's got his family back and whatnot, and then he basically, Iron Fist is just disposable to him. And then he ends up framing him for dealing drugs, and they're on the run in the last episode. Him and Colleen are on the run. They end up having a massive fight with the Sensei guy, and she beats him, stabs him, but he gets away. Then Iron Fist has a fight with Davos in the same kind of breath, and they have a disagreement and whatnot, and then they bugger off, so that was kind of all sudden. And then you've got the final episode of them running for everything, and they've got to get to David Wenham's character. Again, I keep forgetting the character's name. Get it to him at the top of the tower to stop him and get this iPad that's got information to prove his innocence and whatnot. One thing I quite like was the scene where they're all fighting and shooting and everything's going on, and then Iron Fist slams into the ground and everything just explodes. You can see that's where the big budget went, with all the glass going everywhere. Then you've got David Wenham's character going straight to the top of the tower. He follows him up. They get into a kind of a tussle back and forth, but it's really weird because he was a really good fighter. Iron Fist was a great fighter throughout the entire series, yet when he's facing him, that's not a great fighter, really. He kind of like takes a back seat. It's just like suddenly he can't do it or something. He should have been able to kick his ass with minimum effort, and it took so much. Then he got shot in the hand. Then at the last minute they're all there, and he's been stabbed by Iron Fist up against this pole kind of mast thing. Then he gets out and goes to shoot him, and then you've got Ward coming up and shooting him, and he falls over the side and down he goes, and that's David Wenham's character dead. Which, one, it was kind of like, it should have been Iron Fist, I think, really. And two, the main thing they said he had a weakness of was he has to have his head cut off for him to actually die. Otherwise he'll keep coming back because of what the Hand have done to him. And just to get a stab in the chest and a shot in the face, and not in the face, he was shot in the chest, I think, even, then he just falls over. I assume the landing was obviously really bad there, I assume. But you would have thought with the build-up, he'd be getting his head cut off at the end. I thought that's kind of like what they were aiming for. Then no, he just gets shot and he falls off of the building. And then he gets cremated and that's the end, he's definitely dead. But then you've got kind of all the little wrap-up scenes and whatnot, and you know, Ward and everything have kind of made his peace with Iron Fist and whatnot. Joy kind of ends up talking to the Davos character at the end with Madame Gao behind, like they're plotting something, which was weird. I don't know what's going on there. And then finally you've got Iron Fist saying, I'm going back to Kowloon and I want you to come with me, saying that to Colleen. They go together, and the last scene is them in the winter and everything, up at Kowloon in the mountains, and they appear in this like opening, and there's hand dead everywhere with blood. Then he sees that the place where he used to be is just completely gone. Goes, this is all my fault. Then his hand glows yellow, and that's the end of the series. For me, that was a really poor end to a series. Really, it wasn't good enough. It didn't set anything up. But considering this is the last series before the Defenders, you should have been having some kind of setup for that. Really, a little bit more pushing towards that. Maybe he meets one of the characters, or maybe it's mentioned and it was built up in some way, but no, it was just kind of like he was in Kowloon with thingy and his fist went yellow. It was weird. It was just a weird, kind of disappointing ending to a series that really wasn't doing great to begin with. Overall, guys, this series had its moments, it had enjoyable moments, and it had some good character moments, but again, it fell apart in a lot of areas. I couldn't get behind the Iron Fist character. I generally think that he'll work better with the Defenders, because I feel like he's a supporting character for these better characters, rather than he can't hold the series by himself. He'll work better when he's bouncing off the other Defenders, I think. And yeah, it was a bit of kind of sloppy storytelling, kind of not great. Finale was a bit meh, it was good but not great, and the ending of the series was just a bit what the fuck, really. So I can't really give it any more than what I'm going to give it, which is 2 stars. So that's what I thought of the Iron Fist series. What did you think about it? Let me know down in the comments, or send me an email. You can also find me in the various social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and moviepilot.com. Just type in Nerdbytes anywhere and I'm sure you'll find me. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share my videos, and of course, keep it nerdy.